cahaya untuk negeri ini. Program Pasca Sarjana kami pasti bisa. Bersama kita wujudkan cita-cita mulia.
Thank you very much, Pak Rizky. And now is my turn to speak about my topic, understanding people's perspective amid social and political uncertainty, qualitative insight from Indonesia experience. Honorable Pak Irving Rio, thank you very much for your presentation about qualitative research. I remember some expert in qualitative approach, Edmund Husserl, Alfred Schultz, Heidegger, etc. Thank you. And also Miss Reina Rosari, good name. Yeah, and also all the faculty member, Pak Rahmat, and others. I cannot mention all the members. It's very interesting about talking about qualitative research. But if I talking too much about qualitative approach, maybe make the audience boring, yeah? Still boring, but I see from here some students seem sleepy at the behind, maybe. Yes. You are now here in postgraduate building, and I want to introduce about the postgraduate building in the name of the Director of Postgraduate, Professor Graita Chandra Rin. I want to say warm greetings from Professor Graita. Welcome to this building, this room, the auditorium. And this postgraduate, we have 3 doctoral programs: social sciences. The head of the social sciences program, it's me, yeah. And secondly, about doctorate in economic program. And the last, it's equitancy program, doctorate. We have 5 master program, public policy. So the same, we are also public policy program, master, management, architect, law, and one more. Law and, equitancy, yeah. We have 5 program. And I want to try to present shortly, but my paper, very, very long, maybe 25 pages. I want to try to make it short. I don't talk about qualitative research, but I want to show about the impact of the qualitative research. In fact, what I explain here is very, very connection to my country, to Indonesia experience about the democracy. Why Indonesia? Now we pay attention to the context of my country. Why Indonesia? We talk about the democracy. You can see here that Indonesia is the 3rd largest democracy. It's very, very serious. And Indonesia represents one of the world's most significant democratic experiments. We have another countries, Malaysia, maybe Thailand, yeah, developed country, but Indonesia is one of them. But it's interesting, yeah. Since 2010, the democracy is backsliding. It's a not so good experience about our democracy, yeah. And the third point, the election 2024, so significant to shape how about Indonesia democracy in the future. Imagine about that. We have a very, very long experience about that. And I want to show you about Indonesian political landscape. Oh. Yeah. Sampai aja. Yeah. Indonesia political landscape, key trends. I have 3 points about the key trends. Firstly, resilient but challenge. Yeah. We are very strong in democracy, but it very, very strong challenge. Demokrasi itu bagus, tetapi tantangannya berat. It's about our experience. Secondly is about identity polarization. We have a bad experience when we pass the election of the governor in Jakarta. This identity polarization grow up hotly. Yeah? Religious and ethnic identities increasingly drive political division and loyalties. And thirdly, elite power sharing. So if you read social media and media mainstream or many information about the bureaucracy now, yeah, we can take assumption that now the elite power is around the power, yeah, power sharing, political stability relies on complex range among powerful elite faction. Jadi ada faksi-faksi yang saling berlomba-lomba untuk meraih kepentingan. This is the reality. Yeah. About social, political, and certainly we have in unshakely situation. Kita dalam posisi yang kurang stabil. Yeah. What is that? Institutional trust deficit. Lunturnya kepercayaan terhadap kelembagaan. Ya. Ini sebuah realitas. So, public confidence in political institution has eroded. Yeah. Significant in the recent years. Yes. And second, expression restriction. New legal frameworks have limited free speech, assembly and protest right. We can follow to the social media many even about that. What I say that expression restriction, governance anxiety, citizens express growing concern about possible election, manipulation, and governance values. It's all about the background, long story, yeah, about the historical experience, historical roots of this content. We have bad experience when post-Suharto transition, military shifted after democracy, creating new political dynamics. Second, persistent tension, ethnic, religious, regional conflict continue to challenge national unity. Remember Aceh, remember Papuan, yeah, and some others province. Yeah. And the third is Suharto's authoritarian legacy still live about the authoritarian legacy. Now, if we follow the update government in my country, yeah, Suharto's system of political control still influence governance approaches today. No doubtly, it's the real problem for us. About religion and national identity, maybe we have the same. Philippines, you have mostly about the religion is Catholic, right? Bu Rena, Philippines, mostly Christian. Here, yeah, yes. Here, mostly Muslim. Yeah, 87% population identify as Muslim. Yeah, and we have a religious diversity. Numerous minority of faith maintain presence despite pursuers is the situation. Moral foundation, all believe in God as the essential of morality. And we believe people, when they have religion, it seems they also have a good moral, good moral. Ideological tension, ongoing struggle between pluralist tradition and rising conservative influence. It's a problem, yeah. Economic and social vulnerabilities. We have 37% wealth gap. We have 48% informal economy. And we have 18% education access. So it means what? It means Indonesia, we have a wide gap between the wealth and the poorest. But we optimistic about what I say, 48 informal economy. Why I say that this is good information for us? Because we have experience during global crisis of economic, during 2006, 008, yeah, when the global economic is falling down, and Indonesia is very good position because we have the fundamental economy. Because 48 we have informal economy. Kami punya banyak kekuatan ekonomi di sektor informal. So it's about fundamental economy. Cannot make us move to another situation. What I present before. So now I want to see you that this is about how if we put it in qualitative approach, all of the facts, all of the phenomenon, all of the narrative where I have shown us, I use qualitative research by in-depth interview, focus group discussion, and method of analysis. It's easy to do that because we have basic how to research by qualitative approach. And qualitative approach is very, very, what I say, very, very familiar approach in research. We can use it enjoyable. Yeah, we can use qualitative research in freely. Yeah, and we can put outside about what I say, value free. Yeah, value free. So now, where I present just now, I speak, I show you free because this is the qualitative research. This is research. I do it. So, how about the result? The result of the qualitative approach when I show you just now? Yeah, very long. The lived reality of uncertainty. Look here, caught between worlds. Citizens describe feelings suspended between democratic ideas and authoritarian realities. Many express confusion about which direction Indonesia is heading. So, the statement, we live in and in between time, not fully free, not fully controlled. Kita dalam situasi yang tidak menentu, ya, di mana ada kebebasan, tetapi juga ada kontrol. Kontrol juga lemah. Ini situasi yang kita sebut sebagai uncertainty, tidak menentu. Ini situasi yang kita hadapi saat ini. And secondly, wait and see mentality. All of the people, I know well about the government here. Yeah. For example, this is illustration. If, yeah, my friend from Indonesia, if we follow the media social, the comment to Ibu Kofifa as the governor of East Java, in comparison with West Java governor, yeah, people in East Java give many comments about Ibu Kofifa. Yeah. Why Ibu Kofifa cannot progress about the development in East Java? Yeah. Slowly, but maybe stagnant, and she doesn't know what to do. I just assume that, yeah, not too easy to make program in this situation. Situasi seperti ini tidak mudah untuk melangkah. Ya, para birokrat, para politisi, tidak gampang ya membuat program-program. Wow, banyak ya, watchdog, ya, and KPK dan seterusnya. Itu situation. So wait and see mentality, yeah. And about citizen and political stability, fragile elite arrangement. Ini kondisi elit rapuh, fragile, yeah. They keep the things calm, but we lose our say in how things work. Seolah-olah sepertinya aman-aman saja, tetapi orang pada bingung mau buat apa. Ini kan situasi. Saya kira ini kenyataan yang tidak menggembirakan. Ya. So now, voices from youth and millennials, what they say. Yeah. Political, they skeptics to this situation. Deep distrust to politicians. My student in doctorate program, they do many research about this topic. Yeah, the perception of the youth and the millennials about the political now. So I can say here now deep distrust of politicians and formal political process. Second, preference for online activism over traditional participate. Sekarang ini kan lebih didominasi oleh media-media online. Media online sudah seperti satu komunitas tersendiri. Ya, sedangkan yang tradisional, ya, pola-pola yang lama itu sudah mulai ditinggalkan. Orang lebih efektif menggunakan media online. Digoreng di media online jadi. Ya. Ini persoalan yang kita hadapi saat ini. Local focus emphasize on community level change rather than national politics. Women perspective on social control, regulation, new morality laws limiting personal freedom, increased monitoring of women behavior, strategic adaptation to maintain anatomy. Religious, it is also very interesting. Minorities and inclusion. Yeah, some religion from Hindu, what they say, we used to speak more freely about our faith. Now, we think twice, even 3 times. Next, from the Christian respondent, what they say, our strategy is quiet adaptation. We maintain our practices but do not draw attention. Lebih banyak diam, beradaptasi. The space of different belief keeps shrinking. We feel it every day. Ahmadiyah. Jadi ada kelompok-kelompok komunitas yang tersisihkan. Ya, ini sebuah fakta dalam situasi politik yang kita hadapi. The situation of political insight in Indonesia. Now, turn to the hot issue, everyday corruption. Everyday corruption. Ya, hari-hari korupsi. Ya. Yeah, because when we saw the television and social media, etc., the information, the news about corruption running every day, every month. Saya bilang the corruption is not only about the corruption itself, but maybe such as a celebration. I can say like that, celebration, because when we saw the television, some corruptor, they seem happy, and then they don't think that what they done is wrong way. Yeah, money politics. Yeah, we have know about that. Adaptive strategies, public resentment, growing anger despite resignation to corrupt practice, informal networks. So now, about rural masyarakat di pedesaan. Apa yang mereka bayangkan dengan situasi seperti saat ini? Masyarakat di desa, ya. About government, mereka sudah tidak terlalu yakin pada sistem politik, pada kekuatan dan seterusnya. They say, Jakarta doesn't know us. Jakarta doesn't see us. Ini very high. Resource exploitation. Several years ago, when we come to the Reformation era, many regions from Papua, Aceh, East Kalimantan, Riau Islands, this statement is very, very relevant. They take our lands, wealth, but leave us poor. I have many research about that. I have many research about this statement. Yeah? They take our lands, wealth, but leave us poor. Nah, in Papua, infrastructure neglect. Yeah. Roads only improve when election come. Very interesting. Road and communication from village to village come when the election going on. Yeah. Now, this is the problem. In Papua, we have a main road, Trans-Papua, from Merauke to Jayapura. But now what is the result about the main road? People leave it. And they say that it is not so used for them because the road explorate and make forest and etc. Yeah, trouble. Yeah. So they're not happy about the main road, what I say. Political exclusion, decision affecting us happen without us. It's about the political. Now, urban, middle class aspiration and anxieties. Stabilities versus reform, political fatigue, also about transparency demands, it's the perception of the middle class. Social media, information and rumor, yeah, social media platform functions as alternative public forums. So now social media dominate about all the information, yeah, social media. And what I say, the traditional communication comes to live because very, very strong about media, social media. Protest and social movement, it's the fact we face it. Increasing participation, strategic dilemmas, and innovative strategy. How about Papua and regional perspective? Papua and regional. We still have military presence. Papua, East Kalimantan, West Kalimantan, Middle Kalimantan, Aceh, Sulawesi, yeah, North Maluku, yeah. But in some places, military still presence over there. Resource extraction still going on. Political autonomy, cultural recognition, and economic development. Yeah. Generational change, youth as agent of innovation. We hope about it. We deep hope about it. Yeah. Actually, yeah, youth as agent of innovation, community innovation, initiative, creative engagement, social entrepreneurship. Key tension, demokrasi versus order. Ya. Pilihannya kan kita selalu ingin stabil, tapi yang kita hadapi bagaimana kekuatan politik itu bisa mengendalikan. Ini persoalan. Ya. What sustain political stability? It's about elite agreement. Now elite in the situation of power sharing. Yeah, situation is about power sharing. Power sharing among influential political faction. Ada faksi-faksi yang kerjanya untuk bagi-bagi kekuasaan. Ya, kuat-kuatan untuk bagi-bagi kekuasaan. Ya. Distribution, patronage networks, distribution of resources, thought-client relationship. Yeah. Incremental reform, we have turned to reformation, but now going stagnant. Gradual change that don't threaten power structure. Yeah. Religious accommodation, yeah, it's also the must, it must, yeah. Lessons from qualitative insight, what I present just now. Yeah. What is the fact from the qualitative insight. Uncertain paradox. We now face in the situation uncertain paradox. Social, political uncertainty both threatens democracy and simultaneous resilience. Citizens develop creative adaptation while struggling with precarity. Everyday strategies people navigate uncertain. Sekarang tergantung kita sendiri, ya. Up to us menghadapi situasi seperti ini. Ya. Tidak bisa banyak berharap. Ya. Hidden transcripts below public compliance, lies, complex private, critic and resistant, etc. The implication for policymaker. This is the end of my presentation. The implication for policymaker and civil society. We have pushed strong trust building. Yeah. Yeah. Priorities institutional reform that strengthen public. Ya, ini yang penting, public demands. Kepercayaan publik harus dikembalikan. Harus dikembalikan. Ya. Secondly, about accountability, create meaningful mechanism for citizen oversight and feedback. Ya. Segala sesuatu dikelola secara akuntabilitas. Ya. Kembalikan kepercayaan rakyat. Address grievances, tackle system inadequate that full discontent polarization, hindari ya pengkota-kotaan. Ya. Sudah tidak menguntungkan. Ya. Sudah tidak perlu lagi. Inclusive dialogues, mulai dengan dialog, keterbukaan dan seterusnya. Ya. Conclusion, Pak Rizky ya, lembar terakhir. Conclusion, Pak Rizky nunggu kok nggak mari-mari ya. Ya, conclusion. How to navigate unsettling situation in my country. Indonesia paradox. Nation demonstrate remarkable resilience amid persist. Citizens maintain hope. Rakyat itu penuh berharap ya. Ya. Sekarang kalau bahasa saya tinggal kekuatan politik, political system must be built up strongly. Ya. Not about political advantage. Ya Pak Rio ya, not about political advantage. Ya. But how to build political system strong. Kalau sistem politik kuat kan stabil. Tapi kalau sistem politik lemah, ya di situ tempatnya orang bagi-bagi kekuasaan. Ini persoalan. Ya. Pathways forward, building more inclusive institution. Mulai lebih sungguh-sungguh membuka diri, mulai lebih sungguh-sungguh membuka kesempatan kepada semua pihak, agar supaya kita bisa mengambil semuanya sebagai sebuah kekuatan. That is my presentation, and it's about the fact, the phenomenon in qualitative approach. I use social media, I use some resources from mainstream media, discussion with my student, because my student do many research about what I talk. My doctorate student, they do many research about that. So I derive from the research, and I try to construct to this paper. Maybe it is as a little information for us for this forum. And I say thank you very much for my presentation. Thank you.
Universitas Merdeka Malang, kami berjanji membawa cahaya untuk negeri ini. Program pasca sarjana, kami pasti bisa. Bersama kita wujudkan cita-citamu.